Hey guys, happy Monday. Today is November 9th, 2020. We are still continuing our Unit 3 multiplication. Last week we worked really hard doing our 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication with area models, and today we are going to be practicing the standard algorithm of 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication. So in your journal, pause the video here and add in 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication standard algorithm. Okay, so for our warm-up, I want you guys to create an area model for the following equation. You have 21 and 36 for 21 times 36. So I want you to create an area model in your journal to see if you can find the product. Pause the video here and see if you can do that for your warm-up. Okay, so let's go ahead and check our work. So you should have had a 30 and a 6 for 36 separated out into their expanded notation, and 20 and 1 for 21 expanded notation. Then remember, it's down and across to fill in the products of the partial products for each equation. So you have 30 and 20 for the first one, which you should have had 600. Then you have 30 and 1 for 30. Then 20 and 6 for 120. And then you have 1 and 6, which is 6. Then after you did that, remember you have to go over, line each one of them up. And 30. And 6. And once you have them added up and lined up, you should have a 6, a 5, and a 7. So that is the first one. That's a warm-up, a review of last week. Now we are going to be moving into the standard algorithm. So make sure that you have all of this written in your notes. And then the next part is super important. In your journal, I want you to pause the video here and copy down the anchor chart. This is your multiplication 2-digit by 2-digit standard algorithm. It's the steps. So here we have the example of 57 times 24. First is we're going to multiply by our ones. Number 2, multiply the ones by the tens. 3, insert our 0 as a place value holder. 4, you're going to multiply your tens by your ones. Number 5, multiply tens by tens. And then at the end is we find the sum. So get that written in your notes. Go ahead and pause the video here, and you will see this anchor chart reviewed and visited throughout today's lesson. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we've already done the standard or the area model for our equation of 21 times 36 or 36 times 21. We know that the total is 765. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use our steps to multiply. So here, let me switch on over to colors. So the first thing we're going to do is multiply by our ones by 1. So that is 6 times 1, and we get 6. Then I'm going to switch to my green so it's color-coded. Then we're going to multiply our ones by our tens. So 6 times 2 is 12, which we've already done this first step. So usually there's no problems or steps that we have a hard time with in this multiplication. The next part is where it gets difficult. So we're going to insert our place value holder, which is a 0. So you always have to add a 0 for the next round place value holder. So add that 0 in. And then we're going to multiply our tens by our ones, 3 by 1, which is 3. And then multiply our tens by our tens, which is 3 times 2, which is 6. Then the last step is adding. Find the sum. So even in the area model, the last part was adding. This is the same thing. So 6 plus 0 is a 6. 3 plus 2 is a 5. And 6 plus 1 is 7. So this is our standard algorithm. We just did the same equation and got the same answer as we did for our area model over here. So go ahead. If I went too fast on this, make sure that you do the standard algorithm just to make sure that you have those steps written in your journal. Okay, here is the review of the steps. So again, ones by ones, 6, ones by tens, 36. Then we put our 0, and then we did our tens by ones for 12, regroup and carry. And then we go 3 by 2, which is 10 and tens for 7. And then you add them up, 756 for your total. Okay, so here is one that we are going to look and see if the steps are done correctly. So we're going to follow the steps on our anchor chart, and I just want you to put your pencils down and watch along as I go along with this. So I'm going to recreate the equation over here. I have 39 times 41. So again, just follow along as we go through. Step 1, multiply ones by ones. So I'm going to go 9 times 1, which is 9. And then I go multiply ones by tens, 1 times 3, which is 3. Next step, insert place value holder. And then multiply tens by ones, 9 times 4 is 36. So I have a 6 here and a 3 up top to add, plus 3. Then I have 4 times 3, which is 12, plus 3. 12 plus 3 is 15. Last step, find the sum. Now, I have 9 plus 0 is 9. 3 plus 6 is also 9. 5 plus 1 is 5. And I bring my 1 down here, and I have 1,599. Now, it's asking, is this correct? It is not correct. And I want you to think about it. Why is it not correct? Oh, I see. They forgot this important step number 3. There is no 0 here. So they did all of the partial products correctly, but they forgot to add a 0, and it made the answer completely wrong. Okay, here is where I want you to try one on your own. Now go through the steps of it. And the first what I want you to do is make sure that you rewrite the equation and go through the steps. Remember, this is an add right here. So check and see. Don't just bubble in, do you think it's correct? Let's go through the steps and work it out to see if you can actually do it. So pause the video here and go through your steps. Okay, so let's go through our work and see if we have it correct. So you should have 29 times 31. Step 1, multiply ones by ones. So you have 9 and 1, which is 9. Then multiply your ones by your 10. So 2 times 1, which should be a 2. Then we are going to insert our place value holder, which is a 0. Now multiply tens by ones, which is 3 times 9, which is 27. So your 7 goes here, and you have a regroup carry plus 2. Now you have 3 times 2, which is multiplying tens by tens, 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 2, which is an 8. Now if you add them all up, you are going to have a 9, a 9, and an 8 for a total of 899. Oop, they got it correct. So if you did all the multiplication correct, you got the answer correct as well. Let's try another one. Here you have 26 times 35. And I want you to pause the video here and see if you can get this one and then check your work, and I'll see you here in just a minute. Pause the video here and see if you can solve this one. Okay, so let's check. You should have 26 times 35 written over here with the multiplication sign. And we are going to start with our multiplying by our ones. 6 times 5 is 30. So remember, place values matter. Make sure you put the correct numbers in the right places. You should have a plus 3 up here. And then we're going to switch to green. Now we have 5 times 2, which is 10, plus 3 for 13. So remember to put your digits in the correct space. So you should have 130. And then we are done with our ones. I'm going to put my place value holder. Sometimes I like to cross out my work and draw my arrow to know, okay, I am done. You are more than welcome to do that. And then we're going to switch on over to, now we are multiplying our tens by our ones. 3 times 6, which is 18. And we have a carry our 1 up top. Now we have 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 1, which is our 7, plus 7. Again, there should have been a plus sign here, but we add them up. We have 0 plus 0, which is our 0, and 3 plus 8, which is 11. And we have a carry of a 1, which is 9, for 910. Yep, they got that one correct. We're going to try one more. Okay, so this is the last one we're going to practice as a whole group of you practicing the steps. So again, pause the video here. You're going to write down 70 times 61 and go through the steps of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 and check and see if it's done correctly. Again, there should be a plus sign here. So make sure that you put all the steps correct. Pause the video here and get that one worked out. Okay, so you should have 70 times 61. And remember with our zeros that anything times 0 is always going to be a 0. So it's very important to make sure you follow the steps correctly. Okay, so step 1, multiply ones by ones. 0 times 1 is a 0. Then we are going to switch steps. Multiply ones by tens. 7 times 1 is 7. Then we're going to look at the next step. Let's see. Let's go to blue. And we have put our 0. Again, you can cross out anything that you already did. Put your arrow to let you know that you have moved it. And now we are going to do our tens by our ones. 6 times 0 is a 0. And then 6 times 7 is 42. All right, now we add them up. And if you need to stick zeros in to make sure all of your holes are lined up correctly, you are more than welcome to do that. 0 plus 0 is a 0. 7 plus 0 is a 7. 0 plus 2 is a 2. And 4 plus 0 is a 4. Oh, and whoever did this one is wrong. Is not correct. If I look, I have 70, 70. Yep. Oh, here's where it went wrong. 7 times 6 is not 36. 7 times 6 is 42. So it's super important to make sure you get your place value holders, but also that your products are correct. Remember, you have those multiplication charts if you need them. All right. Now here's our exit ticket. You have 3 problems on grid paper that you are going to do right now on your own, which is A, B, C, and D, or A, B, and C. And if you're working from home, you can write them down on grid paper and solve them out using your standard algorithm. And I will be coming back in and we'll be checking our work live in class if you want to check to make sure you're doing them correctly. And then your independent practice is D, E, F, G, H, and I that are also on grid paper. If you have grid paper, it's awesome at home. I have the steps that are here if you need them, so make sure that you do that correctly. And then the last part is if you get finished early, you can get back onto Education Galaxy. It is 4.4C from Represent Products from last week. If you did not get that one completed on Friday, and then Prodigy when finished. And that is it. And I will see you guys back on the exit ticket.